Hello, boys and girls. Today I'm going to read you a new story, and it's called Cindy Ellen, a wild western Cinderella. It is written by Susan Lowell and illustrated by Jane Manning. Once there was a rancher who married for his second wife, the orneriest woman west of the Mississippi. She was meaner than a rattlesnake, and she had two daughters that were the spitting image of her. The rancher also had another daughter who was as sweet and gentle as she could be. Her name was Cindy Ellen. Cindy was a pretty good cowgirl, too. Riding her little gray horse, she wrangled and roped and galloped and looped with the best buckaroos on the range. But as soon as the wedding was over, that snaky old stepmother began to pick on poor Cindy Ellen. She was so good, she made her stepsisters look bad. So the stepmother made her do all of the dirty work around the ranch. Mend those fences, tend those cows, she would yell, and shovel out the corral. The stepsisters never did a lick of work all day, but Cindy didn't dare complain to her daddy because his new wife wore the pants in the family. She doesn't look very nice. When the chores were done, the poor girl used to sit down and rest among the ashes and cinders at the edge of the fireplace, so her oldest stepsisters named her Cinderbottom. The youngest sister called her Cinderella, but underneath her dirty old clothes, Cindy Ellen was still as pretty as a peach. Then one day, the biggest cattle king for miles around invited all the neighbors to a 2 day celebration. First, a wild and woolly rodeo, and then a square dance, a real Western fandango. Cindy's stepsisters puffed up like two turkey gobblers. Even though they couldn't ride, they decided to gussy themselves up, fit to kill, and enter the rodeo. Nice, patient Cindy Ellen ironed their frilly shirts and frizzled their hair for them. Don't you wish you could go, Cinderbottom? Sneered the old sister. Aw, you're just poking fun at me, said Cindy sadly. You're right, laughed the younger sister. Nobody could tell you from a cloud of dust, Cinderella. So mean. As soon as they were gone, poor Cindy Ellen broke down and cried and cried. Then suddenly she heard a noise outside, almost like a gunfire, but not quite. It wasn't a bang bang, it was more like a bing bing. And there stood a little old lady with a golden pistol still smoking in her hand. Who are you? Gasped Cindy Ellen. Say hello to your fairy godmother, Sugarfoot, the old lady said. She twirled the pistol, slapped it back into the holster, and took a good hearty look at Cindy. What's the matter with you, honey? You're as down as dirty as a flop-eared hound dog. Stand up straight, dust yourself off. Well, I really want to go to the rodeo, sobbed Cindy Ellen. Can you help? Hmm, maybe so, maybe no, said the fairy godmother. Magic is a plum worthless without gumption. What you need first, gal, is some gravel in your gizzard. Grit, guts, stop that tomfool blubbering and let's get busy. Time's a wasting. She reached for her golden six-gun and Cindy yelled, Don't shoot! But the godmother had already fired straight up into the air. Bing, bing! Glittery sparkles floated down from the sky and sprinkled Cindy all over with fairy dust. Instantly, her heart was filled with strength and happiness, and her rags turned into the finest riding clothes west of the east. A creamy white Stetson hat crowned her shining hair, golden buckskin chaps encircled her legs, and a pretty little pair of cowboy boots hugged her feet like gloves. Buckled to the heel of each boot was a spur that shot out rays of firing light. Those spurs were set with diamonds as big as sugar lumps. Now, said the fairy godmother briskly, where's your horse? She fired her magical pistol into the air. Zing! And Cindy's little gray horse became a silver horse with soft, sparkling coat. His hoofs glittered as he pawed the ground. Now remember, hit the trail. There's no horse that can't be rode, and there ain't no man that can't be throwed. And one more thing, get home by midnight, Gail, or you'll be sorry. When Cindy Ellen pulled up at the rodeo, everybody turned and stared at this dazzling stranger on the silver horse. The rich rancher's son, a rodeo champion by the name of Joe Prince, came forward wearing the biggest belt buckle you've ever seen. He swept his hat off his head. Pleased to meet you, ma'am, he said. Likewise, said Cindy. She looks pretty happy there. Just then, Cindy's older stepsister rode a bucking bronco into the arena, and before she could say oopsie daisy, she boiled over and went chasing clouds way up in the sky. Then she bit the dust. Next came the second stepsister, but she couldn't ride a rail fence if it's in a stiff breeze, and pretty soon she was eating gravel just like the other sister. Cindy Ellen helped the stepsisters up and brushed them off, but never did they even recognize her. Then she remembered her godmother's gift of gumption, and she gave Joe Prince a big daredevil grin. My turn, said Cindy Ellen. Cindy Ellen climbed about a salty bronc with a belly full of bed springs, a real rip snorter. She touched him with her diamond spurs. First, he tried to crow hop, and then he catbacked, and he sunfished, and he windmilled, and he jackknifed, but Cindy stuck to the saddle like a postage stamp. Ride 'em, cowgirl, cried the crowd, and Cindy Ellen was the winner, with every curl in place. Next, with a figure eight, a butterfly, and a wedding ring, she won the trick roping event. And then she and her little horse really burned the breeze. They kicked the jackrabbits right off the trail. They left their shadows 20 miles behind them, and they won the horse race. They even beat Joe Prince. But Joe didn't seem to care. He rode herd on Cindy Ellen's right up to the 11:45 at night, when she suddenly recalled her godmother's warning and went galloping home. By the time she got there, her fine duds had shriveled into sorry rags again, but she had plenty of gumption. After a while, her stepsisters hobbled in, all stove up from the rodeo. Ha ha! You missed the champion cowgirl, the oldest sister jeered. Nobody knows her name or where she disappeared to. And that old Joe Prince is eating his heart out, said the younger one. I bet she comes to the square dance tomorrow night, said Cindy with her new daredevil grin. The next evening, the stepsisters got all dressed up like a sore thumb and studded away to the dance, leaving Cindy Ellen all alone. But not for long. What's that? She said, peeking out her window. It looks like a cross between a comet and a dust storm. It sounded like silver bells mixed with dynamite. Let's get cracking, sweet pea, shouted her fairy godmother. You're late. Rustle me up the biggest, dustiest, lumpiest squash you can find. And zingo! The squash became a stagecoach. Next, we check the trap line, said Godmother. Quick as a wink, she turned 6 cactus mice into 6 dappled horses, a fat pack rat into a stagecoach driver, and a rough, tough horned toad into a stagecoach guard, riding shotgun behind the driver. But what about my ugly clothes? Asked Cindy. The old lady answered with a blast of fairy dust that melted into the dress that shone like sun, the moon, and all the stars together. The skirt flowed over petticoats as soft and puffy as summer clouds. A rainbow of jewels glowed around Cindy Ellen's neck, and little diamond spurs sparkled one more time upon her boot heels. "Thank you, ma'am," she cried. The fairy godmother blew the smoke from her pistol, holstered it, and dusted off her hands. "Remember, Miss Cindy, pretty is as pretty does," she said. "Magic can backfire, midnight or bust," Cindy promised, and the stagecoach rumbled away. When Cindy Ellen arrived at the Cattle King's square dance, the fiddlers were turning up for a toe-tapping jamboree. Joe Prince reached for Cindy's hand the instant he laid eyes on her. "Buckle on your partners, folks," he called, "and tell them to hang on. Let's shake our hoofs like lightning until the early dawn." And Cindy answered, "Hurry up, cowboy, don't be slow." Hand over heels and heels over heel, Joe and Cindy danced and daisy chained and whirled away. The In the grand sachet, they made their feet go wickety whack. "Swing 'em, boys," cried Cindy, "and do it right." And Joe called back, "Swing those girls till the middle of the night." Whirling, swirling, Cindy Ellen lost track of time until all at once she heard the clock begin to strike 12. She hightailed it out of there, lickety split. "Whoa!" yelled Joe, hot on the heels, but he couldn't catch her. One of the diamond spurs fell off Cindy's boots as she ran through, and Joe picked it up carefully out of the dust. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, not a particle remained of Cindy's gorgeous outfit, except for the second diamond spur, which she tucked away in her hip pocket. Pretty soon, word got out that the champion cowgirl was a wanted woman. She left Joe Prince so lovelorn that he was tracking her throughout the territory, and he vowed to marry the horsewoman whose boot fit the little diamond spur. He tried it on many a foot, but not one could wear it. At last he came riding up to Cindy's father's place. "Go shovel out the stable," hissed the stepmother, and Cindy reluctantly obeyed. First Joe tried the diamond spur on the youngest stepsister, but no matter how he stretched the straps, her hoof was too big. The older sister had crushed her feet into little bitty boots. Just for an instant the spur almost fit, but then her boot split open, and her toes popped out like puppies from a basket. And Joe Prince muttered, "Sorry," and he headed for the door. "My turn," said a voice that stopped him in his tracks. It was Cindy Ellen, and although her mean stepsisters almost died laughing, Joe let Cindy have her chance, fair and square. And when he put the diamond spur around her dirty little it fit perfectly. Then she pulled out the second diamond spur and buckled it onto her other boot. And at that moment, Cindy's little horse gave a whinny, and everyone heard a noise like, "Wing wangos kazing! Let 'em rip!" shouted Cindy Ellen's fairy godmother, brandishing her golden pistol. "Hold your fire!" yelled Joe Prince, but glistening sparkles of fairy dust were already sprinkling down everywhere. They turned Cindy's clothes from cotton to satin, and they put quite a tinkle in Joe's eye. And Cindy's horse began to sparkle. "Yeah," said the fairy godmother. So Cindy Ellen and Joe Prince got hitched and lived happily ever after in a ranch house full of love and rodeo trophies. Cindy's family moved to town where both stepsisters married city slickers, and Cindy's little horse kept his sparkling coat and his glittering hoofs to the end of his days. The end. I hope you all enjoyed this and maybe listen to it again and see if there's some vocabulary you weren't sure about or some phrases that you might ask mom or dad or grandma or grandpa or maybe your bigger older brother or sister what they really meant. I miss you. I'll see you soon, I hope. Bye.